Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your voice wasn't heard, where your opinion was dismissed, or where you felt undervalued? Have you ever wished for a way to assert yourself with quiet confidence, to command respect without raising your voice, and to navigate difficult conversations with grace and authority? In a world that often mistakes loudness for strength and aggression for power, the art of commanding respect through carefully chosen words is a skill that sets apart the truly influential from the merely noisy. It's not about being domineering or arrogant. It's about communicating with a clarity and conviction that leaves no room for misinterpretation. It's about understanding that the words we use have the power to shape perceptions, build bridges, and establish our worth in the eyes of others. The ancient Stoics, masters of emotional intelligence and self-control, knew this well. They understood that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering oneself. And that begins with the words we speak. Today, we will delve into 7 powerful phrases that, when used correctly, can transform the way people perceive you and command the respect you deserve. These are not magic words, but rather tools of communication, grounded in psychological principles and timeless wisdom, that will empower you to stand your ground, express your views, and earn the respect you deserve. And if you stay with me until the end, I will share with you an ancient story that illustrates the profound power of choosing your words wisely. A story that will stay with you long after you've finished watching. Phrase 1. I have to say no to that. This is a statement of clear and unapologetic refusal. The use of have to implies that the decision is not arbitrary but based on principles, priorities, or limitations that are non-negotiable. It removes the element of personal feeling from the refusal, making it less about rejecting the person and more about upholding a boundary. This phrase communicates self-respect and an understanding of one's own limits. It shows that you are not a people pleaser and that your time and energy are valuable. This in turn makes others value your time and energy more. It also shuts down further negotiation as it frames the no as a necessity rather than a preference. The Stoics believed in living in accordance with nature and reason. Saying no to things that are not aligned with your values or that would compromise your well-being is a rational and virtuous act. It is an exercise in self-control and a refusal to be swayed by external pressures. As Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By saying no, you are acknowledging that you have enough and are not driven by the need for external validation. Imagine a colleague asking you to take on an additional project when your plate is already full. Instead of a hesitant, "I'm not sure if I can," which invites negotiation, a firm and calm, "I have to say no to that," communicates your position without room for argument. You can follow up with a brief, honest explanation if you choose, such as, "My current workload doesn't allow me to give that project the attention it deserves." Furthermore, consistently failing to say no breeds resentment, both towards the person asking and towards yourself. It leads to burnout, diminished quality of work, and a feeling of being perpetually overwhelmed. By employing this phrase, you are not just managing a single request. You are actively curating your life and your commitments. You are teaching people how to treat you and what your limits are. This clarity in the long run builds stronger, more honest relationships. People may be momentarily disappointed by your refusal, but they will ultimately respect your integrity and your commitment to excellence in the things you do say yes to. It is an act of strategic allocation of your most precious resource, your energy. By protecting it, you ensure that when you commit, you can deliver your best, which is the ultimate foundation of professional and personal respect. Phrase 2. I take full responsibility for this. This is a powerful statement of accountability. It demonstrates a willingness to own one's mistakes and to face the consequences. It is the opposite of blame shifting and excuse making. Taking responsibility, especially when things go wrong, is a hallmark of a true leader. It builds trust and shows integrity. People are more likely to respect and follow someone who is not afraid to admit their faults. It also diffuses tension and allows the focus to shift from finding a scapegoat to finding a solution. The Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control is relevant here. We cannot control external events, but we can control our responses to them. Taking responsibility is a conscious choice to control our reaction to a negative outcome. It is an acknowledgement that while we may not have controlled the event itself, We are in control of our actions and our character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. By taking responsibility, you turn a setback into an opportunity for growth and learning. A project you were leading fails to meet its deadline. Instead of blaming team members or external factors, you say, I take full responsibility for this. I misjudged the timeline, and I am already working on a revised plan to get us back on track. This not only earns you the respect of your team, but also empowers them to focus on the solution rather than dwelling on the problem. Beyond the immediate situation, taking responsibility fosters a culture of psychological safety. When a leader admits fault, it signals to everyone else that it's okay to make mistakes, as long as they are owned and learned from. This encourages innovation, risk-taking, and honest communication. Team members stop wasting energy covering their tracks and instead invest it in their work. This phrase is an act of strength, not weakness. It shows you are confident enough to withstand the scrutiny that comes with failure and that your ego is not so fragile that it needs to be protected by blame. It is a long-term investment in trust. When you take responsibility for the bad, your team and colleagues are far more likely to trust you and give you credit when things go well. You become a stable, reliable anchor in the turbulent waters of any collaborative endeavor. Phrase 3. I see where you're coming from, but my perspective is different. This phrase is a masterclass in respectful disagreement. It validates the other person's viewpoint. I see where you're coming from, before presenting your own. It shows that you have listened and understood their position, even if you don't agree with it. This approach de-escalates potential conflict. When people feel heard and understood, they are more likely to be receptive to a different point of view. It turns a potential argument into a constructive dialogue. It also positions you as a thoughtful and considerate individual who is capable of entertaining multiple perspectives. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This phrase embodies that principle. It is an exercise in empathy and open-mindedness, 2 key Stoic virtues. It also reflects the understanding that our perceptions, not external events, are what shape our reality. By acknowledging the other person's perspective, you are acknowledging their reality without compromising your own. In a team meeting, a colleague proposes a strategy you disagree with. Instead of immediately shooting it down, you say, I see where you're coming from with that approach, and I appreciate the thought you've put into it. However, my perspective is different. I'm concerned about the potential impact on our budget, and I'd like to suggest an alternative. This phrase does more than just soften a disagreement. It demonstrates intellectual confidence. It implies that your own viewpoint is strong enough that it doesn't need to be propped up by tearing down someone else's. You are not threatened by an opposing idea. You are willing to engage with it. This is the essence of a strong mind. It separates the idea from the person, allowing for a robust debate on the merits of a position without making it a personal conflict. Using this phrase consistently positions you as a collaborator and a critical thinker, rather than an adversary. People will become more willing to share their honest thoughts with you, knowing they will be met with consideration, not immediate rejection. This enriches your own understanding and leads to better outcomes, as the best ideas are often forged in the crucible of respectful debate. Phrase 4, we can agree to disagree and leave it there. This is a mature way to end a conversation that has reached an impasse. It acknowledges that not all disagreements can be resolved and that it is sometimes better to end the discussion than to continue arguing fruitlessly. This phrase demonstrates emotional intelligence and a respect for the other person's autonomy. It shows that you are not invested in winning the argument, but rather in maintaining a respectful relationship. It also preserves your energy and prevents you from getting bogged down in unproductive debates. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our control. We cannot control whether someone else agrees with us. Trying to force someone to change their mind is a futile and frustrating endeavor. By agreeing to disagree, you are accepting what you cannot change and choosing to preserve your inner peace. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You are having a political discussion with a friend, and it becomes clear that neither of you is going to change the other's mind. Instead of letting the conversation become heated, you say, It's clear we have very different views on this. I think we can agree to disagree and leave it there. This allows you to move on to other topics and preserve the friendship. Knowing when to use this phrase is a sign of wisdom. It is the recognition that your emotional and mental energy is a finite resource. Wasting it on a circular argument that yields no progress is a poor investment. By choosing to disengage, you are prioritizing your own tranquility and the health of the relationship over the need to be right. It is a strategic retreat, not a surrender. It communicates that you value the person more than the argument. This act of grace is often remembered long after the details of the disagreement are forgotten. It shows that you are in control of your emotions and your ego, and that you have the foresight to see that some battles are simply not worth fighting. This preserves your influence for the discussions that truly matter. Phrase 5, I hear you, but I stand by my decision. This phrase is a powerful way to assert your authority and finality after having listened to feedback or objections. It shows that you are not dismissive of others' opinions, but that you are also resolute in your own judgment. This phrase communicates confidence and decisiveness. It shows that you are a leader who is willing to listen, but who is also capable of making a tough call and sticking to it. It also provides closure and prevents the same issue from being relitigated. This phrase is a practical application of the Stoic virtue of wisdom, which involves making sound judgments and acting on them. It also reflects the understanding that once a decision is made, it is important to move forward with conviction. The Stoics believed in acting with a reserve clause, meaning that we should do our best while accepting that the outcome is ultimately not in our control. By standing by your decision, you are taking ownership of your actions and accepting the potential consequences. As a manager, you have made a decision about a new workflow. Some team members have expressed their concerns. After listening to their feedback, you say, I hear your concerns and I appreciate you sharing them with me. I have considered them carefully, but I stand by my decision. I believe this new workflow will ultimately be more efficient, and I ask for your cooperation in implementing it. The power of this phrase lies in its balance. I hear you is the validation. I stand by my decision is the assertion. Without the first part, the statement can sound tyrannical. Without the second, it can sound weak and indecisive. Together, they create a portrait of a leader who is both inclusive and resolute. This builds confidence in your team or family that decisions are not made in a vacuum, but that they are also not subject to endless debate. It creates stability and a clear path forward. People respect leaders who can absorb pressure and dissent without wavering on their core convictions. It shows that you have a vision and the courage to see it through, even in the face of opposition. This steadfastness is a cornerstone of earning genuine, lasting respect. Phrase 6, I won't continue if this becomes disrespectful. This is a clear boundary-setting statement. It communicates that you will not tolerate disrespect and that you are willing to disengage from a conversation that crosses the line. This phrase commands respect by demonstrating self-respect. It shows that you value yourself and that you will not allow others to mistreat you. It also puts the onus on the other person to moderate their behavior if they wish to continue the conversation. It is a powerful way to shut down personal attacks and keep the focus on the issue at hand. The Stoics taught that we should not be disturbed by the insults of others. As Epictetus said, if someone is able to provoke you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. However, this does not mean that we should tolerate abuse. Setting boundaries is a rational and self-preserving act. It is a way of controlling what we can, our own participation in a conversation, and refusing to be drawn into the negativity of others. You are in a heated discussion with someone, and they start making personal insults. You calmly and firmly say, I am willing to discuss this issue with you, but I won't continue if this becomes disrespectful. This immediately shifts the dynamic and forces the other person to either change their tone or end the conversation. This statement is not a threat, but a declaration of your standards. It is delivered not with anger, but with calm finality. This emotional control is, in itself, a display of strength that commands respect. You are not stooping to their level. You are inviting them to rise to yours. By refusing to engage with disrespect, you are protecting your own mental and emotional well-being. You are affirming that your peace of mind is more important than winning an argument or having the last word. This act of self-preservation is a powerful signal to others that you are not an easy target for emotional manipulation or verbal abuse. It establishes you as a person of high value who expects to be treated accordingly. Phrase 7, that's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't accept it. This is a nuanced and powerful phrase that distinguishes between respecting someone's right to an opinion and accepting that opinion as your own truth. It is a way of disagreeing without being disagreeable. This phrase communicates a high level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness. It shows that you are able to separate the person from their opinion and that you are secure in your own beliefs. It also prevents the other person from feeling personally attacked, as you are acknowledging the validity of their right to have an opinion. The Stoics believe that our judgments, not external things, are what cause us distress. By stating that you do not accept someone's opinion, you are asserting your own judgment and refusing to be swayed by theirs. It is an exercise in intellectual autonomy and a refusal to outsource your thinking to others. It aligns with the Stoic goal of living a life of reason and virtue, guided by one's own internal compass. Someone gives you unsolicited advice that you do not agree with. Instead of arguing with them, you say, I understand that's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't accept it for myself. I have a different approach that I am going to take. This ends the conversation on a respectful note while still making your position clear. This phrase is the verbal embodiment of a strong internal frame. It demonstrates that your sense of self and your decisions are not dependent on external approval. You are the ultimate arbiter of your own life and choices. By respecting their opinion, you show courtesy and maturity. By not accepting it, you show sovereignty over your own mind. This combination is incredibly powerful. It allows you to navigate social situations, family gatherings, and professional environments where differing opinions are common without compromising your own principles or creating unnecessary conflict. It is a quiet declaration of independence, a statement that you are guided by your own values and reason, which is the very essence of a Stoic and a respected individual. The phrases we've explored today are more than just words. They are declarations of self-worth, tools for navigating complex social dynamics, and expressions of a mind that is both strong and serene. They are the language of quiet confidence, of unshakable integrity, and of the kind of respect that is earned, not demanded. By integrating these phrases into your vocabulary, you are not just learning to communicate more effectively, you are learning to embody the principles of self-respect, emotional intelligence, and timeless wisdom. You are learning to be the calm in the storm, the voice of reason in the chaos, and the master of your own emotional world. Now, before you go, let me tell you a story about a wise old man and a valuable lesson about the weight of our words. In a small village nestled in the mountains, there lived a wise old man known for his calm demeanor and insightful words. A young man known for his quick temper and sharp tongue came to the old man seeking guidance. "Master," he said, "I want to learn to be like you. I want to have the respect of the village." The wise old man looked at the young man and said, "Before I teach you, you must do one thing. Take this bag of feathers and drop one feather on the doorstep of every house in the village." The young man, though puzzled, did as he was told. It took him the entire day, but he completed the task. He returned to the wise old man and said, "I have done as you asked." "Now," said the wise old man, "go back and collect every feather and bring them back to me." The young man was dismayed. "But master," he cried, "that's impossible. The wind will have blown them all away. I can never get them all back." The wise old man smiled gently. "And so it is with your words," he said. "Once they are spoken, they are like the feathers in the wind. You can never take them all back. Choose them carefully, for they have the power to build up or to tear down, to earn respect or to sow discord." The young man understood. From that day on, he chose his words with care. And in time, he became known not for his temper, but for his wisdom and the respect he commanded. The story of the feathers is a timeless reminder of the permanence and power of our words. The 7 phrases we discussed today are your tools for choosing your words with intention. They are the means by which you can place your feathers carefully, ensuring they build bridges of respect rather than being scattered carelessly by the winds of emotion. Saying no, taking responsibility, disagreeing respectfully. These are not just conversational tactics. They are deliberate acts of character, each one a carefully placed feather that contributes to the reputation you build, the relationships you nurture, and the respect you command. So I encourage you not just to memorize these phrases, but to understand the principles behind them. Practice them not as lines in a script, but as expressions of a deeper commitment to living with integrity, courage, and wisdom. Start small in low-stakes situations and feel the shift in your own confidence and in the way others respond to you. The journey to earning respect is not a sprint. It is a daily practice of mindful communication. It begins with a simple, profound choice to honor yourself and others with the words you speak.